Alright, we're back again with Truckstang 3, and pretty much our last video before we actually get to see this thing run, because in this video, I have to install an ignition system. Now, if we remember from previous videos, we mentioned how this distributor being made specifically for marine setups, because this is a boat engine, would be a little more difficult to source parts for. And difficult, I mean expensive. So rather than stick with this distributor, which also is kind of messed up anyway because the clamps, which are screw down clamps, are rusted up, so couldn't use it anyway. But rather than stick with this distributor, even if it was in good shape, I'm going to replace it with something more automotive. Basically, a distributor that was intended for use in like Ford Pintos or Ford Couriers with a 2.0 or a 2.3 Lima 4-cylinder engine. This is I think an aftermarket reproduction the way it looks because it's too damn clean. But got it pretty cheap online. Pretty much complete, cap, rotor, all that stuff. This is an electronic distributor. Well, meant for use with an electronic module because there is no electronic stuff in here save for a pickup coil. But anyway, rather than use the Duraspark stuff, I decided to do something similar to what I did to the Dodge and adapt a GM HEI module to help fire the coil. And in our case, I just fabricated a bracket to mount on our shock tower about right there, so it's at a good enough spot where it can get air circulation and still be close enough to everything that I don't have a bunch of wires strung everywhere. But the first thing I'm going to have to do is remove our old distributor. Now, our distributor cap never pulled the wires off of this, so I have to make note of the firing order on this cap, as well as the position of the rotor, so when I pull the rotor out, I could at least put the new distributor in with the rotor pointing in the same direction, and then match up the positions on the new distributor cap to the positions on this distributor cap, so we could at least be somewhat confident that our firing order is in the right position. So go ahead, finish up swapping out our distributor, and we'll move on to our wiring. All right, we got our new distributor in. The old distributor took a little persuading to get out because, well, it's probably been in that engine for who knows how long, 30, 40 years. I don't know how old this engine is. But in the process of getting it out, I had to actually remove the alternator so I could get some clearance around here to be able to work with the hammers and screwdrivers to help work this thing free, or the old distributor, to get it out. But once I got it out, got the new one in there, got the rotor clocked to about the same position, which was a 4 o'clock position as our old distributor was at. And then looking at our old distributor cap, have it about right there where the latch notches are at the 11 and 5 o'clock positions. So I'll mimic that with our new distributor cap, so we can at least go 1 for 1 with all our wires onto our new cap. And we should be pretty close enough to be able to fire this thing up, or at least get some signs of life out of it when everything is all said and done. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get these wires on here, find me a coil wire, because I don't have a coil wire. But once I get that done, then I'll move on to our ignition module. Okay, our ignition module, a GM HEI style module, is mounted on a carved up bracket that's thick enough to provide some heat sink properties while providing a stable platform to hold the module in place. As stated, it's going to go on this old shock tower about like that. So again, it's able to get plenty of air clearance and still be close enough to the coil and the distributor that there won't be a lot of wires just strung all over the place. So with that, I'll go ahead and get this module mounted down, snugged up, and then we could go ahead and start looking at our wiring for both the distributor and the coil to said module. Hooking up a HEI module is not too complicated. There's not a whole lot to address on this thing. Just the module, the pickup coil from the distributor, and the ignition coil and power to all this stuff. First thing I'm going to address is the distributor. And The wire on the end of the distributor going to the pickup coil had a plug on there, this plug right here, but because I don't have an opposing end for that plug, the only other option is to improvise. So I cut the plug off, obviously, and our improvisation is going to be this little connector right here. Now I also found this double female plug here in a scrap pile, which actually fits pretty good as far as going to our module, so that'll work out pretty good like that. And then all I got to do is just take this wire in and push them into the other end of this terminal right here. But these are stranded wires, and this thing works by having a couple of jaws grip around the wire, better for solid core stuff. So to address that, I'm going to have to tin these wires here to make them hard enough to be able to press into this so we can plug it up to our ignition module. All right, we got everything on our ignition system hooked up. On the right side of the module right here, I took this salvage plug right here and wired it with a quick disconnect right here for our distributor pickup coil. If I ever need to replace the distributor for any reason, I can always just get another one of these quick disconnects and use the opposite end. So that's all fine and dandy. But on the other end of the module, we have our two wires right here going to our coil right here. And then we have our homemade coil wire, which is really just a salvage spark plug wire trimmed down with two new ends crimped on it. But all that stuff is hooked up. And at the same time of getting that done, I took a moment to put a short piece of heater hose on here with a crankshaft bolt locked in place so water doesn't come spraying out of there. And on our water pump, there's already a cap in place from the factory. Since this is a boat engine, there was no need for a heater coil hookup, so they just capped this end of the water pump off. Now, later on, if I want to, I could always pull that cap off and then put a piece of heater hose on there to go to our heater coil whenever we install that stuff. But in the meantime, I would say we are probably ready for takeoff. See if we can get some life out of this thing. Already got water in the radiator, tightened up a couple of clamps that were dribbling a little bit, so we should be good on the cooling system. Let's see if this thing's in time or close enough to actually fire off. I had that distributor right on point because this thing popped off with no problem. Sounds like a pretty healthy engine so far. Gonna let this thing run a while and see how the temperature does along with oil pressure. Well, only a couple minutes after startup and this thing's pumping out a healthy 69 psi on the oil pressure, which is bloody awesome. I'm waiting for the temperature sender to start responding so we can see what we're getting on that end. Of course, we're a little low on petrol and our voltage is meh. I'm gonna have to check that alternator because apparently it's not pumping out anything. But those are minor inconveniences because we got to run an engine. I had another case of CRS. I forgot to hook up the ground wire on our temperature sending unit, so I went ahead and got that knocked out. with our wire zip tied along this same bundle of wires with the ground right there, right alongside the oil sensor's ground. So we should have a temperature reading. And so far this thing's been running about 10 minutes, I would say, and we're hovering around 111, 113, give or take. Our oil pressure is still a good strong 65 psi, fluctuating a little bit, but all of that is a good sign. This thing is pumping oil like a oil well. Well, we've probably been running about 30 minutes, I would say, steadily. Got a good smooth idle. Go take a look inside. Let me see if I could get a good focus on this meter right here. Our air-fuel ratio is hovering around where it really needs to be, so that's actually good too. Got our carburetor tuned, and then looking at our other gauge, we're still pumping at a good 62 psi on the oil, and we're only at 127 on the temperature gauge after 30 minutes of straight idling, and it's, I would say, about 75 degrees, maybe 70, 75 degrees. So that's a good sign right there. So really, with all that said and done, I might see if I could run this thing up and down the driveway, get a preliminary test to make sure the transmission and all is straight, and then if that's all good, then we hit the road. So far, so good. Even on that little test run up and down the driveway into the main road, car did what it was supposed to do, accelerated like it was supposed to, transmission shifted, no problems there. Steering, the brakes were a little funny. Steering was good, but the brakes were being a little funny. When I really laid on them, it wanted to pull a little bit, but we'll have to look at that at a later time. Just had to get a feel for the thing. But all in all, I think this thing's ready for the main road, so let's do that. Alright, that was actually pretty fun. For a 4-cylinder, this car is actually pretty cool to drive. I was able to chirp the tires a couple times from a dead stop when I popped the clutch, and for a little 4-cylinder with a 2-barrel, basically one primary, one secondary carburetor, this thing actually has a little get up and go for what it is. So I'm happy about that. It'll be even better with a turbo, of course, but that's neither here or there. But all in all, the car performed pretty good. I will have to tweak the timing more than likely and probably check the plugs to make sure there ain't any carbon deposits on them, because a couple times the engine backfired on deceleration, which is really just a timing issue for the most part. And the brakes did pull a couple times when I applied the brakes a little more than normal, which between the mismatched tires and then maybe just needing to bleed the brakes one more time to make sure everybody is even, all minor inconveniences. But all in all, again, the car performed, I would say, flawlessly, minus those little things. Transmission shifted like it was supposed to. The engine did exactly what I expected it to do. And even right now, after sitting for a few minutes, the temperature is only at 141 degrees. When I backed in, the temperature was only 125 while running. So this thing is actually running pretty cool. With that huge aluminum radiator geared for a V8, this thing's not going to have any problems running cool, save for a catastrophic failure of some other sort. Even our air fuel meter, if we get back in there, we're at about 16, floating between 15 and 16, which, yeah, a little rich, but this thing had been running after all. So yeah, even our fuel gauge really hadn't bounced around much. But yep, everything is perfect on here. Everything's working as designed. So I'm gonna knock off and end this video. So stay tuned for more Truckstang 3 videos, because there will be more. I have to address our seat issue. I got an eye on some racing seats that are lower base, so hopefully they will allow me to sit in this thing comfortably without my legs pushing up into the steering wheel, and be able to actually see at a proper level out of the windshield. Between that and then maybe figuring out some kind of, maybe a removable divider to go in the back to close in the cab during inclement weather, all after the fact. But again, stay tuned for that. So as usual, hit the like button. Likes are free. Subscribe, notifications, so you can be kept up to date on future videos on Truckstang 3, among other things. Check out Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. And we will be back with more on Truckstang 3. I am out.